Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Dennis Stockman, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 2, Ian Mason. We warmly welcome members of A Company, 1st 19th Royal New South Wales Regiment Infantry Battalion. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and members of A Company's 1st 19th Infantry Battalion. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through till the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed to the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those who were listed on the Roll of Honour, which lists the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we pay tribute to Pilot Officer William Frederick Collins, who was killed on active service with the Royal Air Force on 27 April 1944. Born in Goondiwindi, Queensland on the 6th of January 1914, William Frederick Collins was the son of Harold and Elizabeth Collins. Growing up, Collins attended Central Technical School and Commercial High School in Brisbane. A keen sportsman, he played cricket and participated in swimming and shooting. Following school, Collins worked as a wood machinist. He served for 5 years in a machine gun company of the militia before enlisting in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force following the outbreak of the Second World War. Having been posted to the 2nd 9th Battalion, Collins was discharged in August 1940 to allow him to enlist in the Royal Australian Air Force. Collins had 2 brothers who enlisted in the AIF, both of whom served in the 9th Division. Following enlistment, Collins began training as a wireless operator and soon embarked for overseas service, first to Canada, then Britain. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Collins was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners and engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined squadrons based in Britain. The photograph in front of the pool of reflection shows Collins with a fellow Australian, Sergeant Rex Gotts, at Jasper Railway Station in Alberta, Canada, shortly after the pair had completed a training course. Gotts was later killed during a bombing raid on the German Baltic coast in September 1942. After further training in England, Collins served in a number of squadrons, Number 9 Squadron, Number 148 Squadron, and he flew a full tour with Number 37 Squadron, a bomber squadron in the RAF Middle East Command. Returning to Britain, he worked as an instructor at various training schools before being posted to Number 106 Squadron of the Royal Air Force in February 1942. As part of Bomber Command, Number 106 Squadron flew 4-engine Avro Lancaster heavy bombers. On the night of 26-27 April 1944, the Lancasters of 106 Squadron were taking part in a raid on the German city of Schweinfurt in Bavaria. This was Collins' 12th operational sortie with the squadron. During this operation, Collins' Lancaster was shot down and crashed in France. 6 of his British crewmates, including the squadron leader, were killed. 1 crewmate survived and spent the rest of the war as a prisoner of war. William Collins was 29 years old. The bodies of the crew were recovered from the crash site and are buried side by side in the Lanouville-Arbayard Churchyard Cemetery in the town of Lanouville-Arbayard in the Champagne-Ardenne region of France. In a letter to Collins' parents, the commander of 106 Squadron wrote that Collins had arrived at the squadron with a splendid reputation and that he, quote, carried out his important work in a manner which was an example to us all. He possessed considerable technical knowledge and he impressed all by his quiet confidence and cheerful courage. We are all most sorry to have lost him, and I can assure you that he will not be forgotten. Collins' name is listed in the Roll of Honour on your right, among some 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War, and his photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. He can be seen standing on the left with Sergeant Rex Gotts on the right, and they are standing in front of the Jasper Railway Station in Alberta, Canada. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Pilot Officer William Frederick Collins, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We'll leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they'll be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and good evening.